Hi everybody, welcome back. We're gonna go over review for circle because you guys have a quiz coming up tomorrow. So if this is the center of the circle, I'm just gonna go over the parts of a circle first, okay? So these are the important things you need to know. If that's the center, that would be your diameter. Okay, it goes from one point of a circle through the center to another point on a circle. Okay, that's what a diameter is. All right, radius would be if this is your center. There's a billion radiuses on here. That would be from the center of the circle to any point on the outside of a circle. It has to be a segment. In other words, it can't be like a squiggle or a half circle or anything, okay? So your diameter is all the way across. Your radius is half of that. So one diameter is always equal to 2 radiuses, okay? Or one radius is equal to half the diameter. So those are kind of the important things you have to get about the parts of a circle, okay? Just so you know, and I don't know that that's even on, but it might be, a chord is anything that goes from one point on a circle to a straight line or a segment to another point on a circle, okay? So diameter is actually a chord because it goes from one point to the other point. A radius is not a chord, okay? A chord just has to connect 2 points on the circle with a segment, okay? All right, the circumference of your circle is the distance around. Okay, so when we talk about circumference, that's always the distance around the circle. It's kind of like the perimeter of the circle. Okay, so the formula for that is, there's 2 formulas you can use for that. They are the same thing. Diameter times pi, okay? Or because one diameter is 2 radiuses, I could say diameter times 2 times radius times pi, okay? Those are the exact same thing. So let's just do one example. If I have a circle, let's say I've got a circle with a radius of 4 and I want to know the circumference, okay? So I would say I either use my diameter, which would be 8. So I know that if my radius is 4, that means my diameter is 8. So I can use either formula. So I'm going to say 8 times pi. We're going to use 3.14. Okay. And then when I multiply that out, I don't have a calculator on me right this second, so I'm just going to do this. That's 32. 8 times 1 is 8. 11. That's 25. So that gives me 25.12. And then it would be whatever units. Let's just say it was centimeters, okay? So that's how I would find circumference. Either 2 radiuses times pi or your diameter times pi, because 2 radiuses is 1 diameter. Okay? And another thing we gotta know on here is how to find the area of a circle. Okay, that's what's inside the circle, okay? What the area the circle takes up, or the space the circle takes up. So if this is my circle, not very straight circle, this is my area, okay? So I'm move that up. I'm not a room here. Okay, for a circle, you have to know the radius or you have to know something about the circle. So the formula for a circle is always going to be area is pi times your radius to the 2nd power, okay? Now, sometimes you're going to be given the diameter and you're going to have to figure out the radius. Sometimes you're going to give the radius. So let's say I want to know the area of a circle with a diameter of, let's say, 8, okay? So I like the number 8 today. Okay, so if the diameter is 8, I need to know the radius, which is half of 8, which would be 4, okay? So in order to do that, I have to know the radius. So I would say area is equal to 3.14, we're going to use for pi, times 4 to the second power. Now, not 4 times 2, it's 4 times 4, okay? So that would be 3.14 times 16. This time I am going to use a calculator because I don't feel like doing that. So when I multiply that out, I get 3.14 times 16 equals 3.116. That's so not right. I didn't put it in right. Sorry. 3.14 times 16. There we go. I got 50.24. And that would be, if that was centimeters, we'll say that's centimeters, squared, because it's area, okay? Okay, so your formulas that you have to know, okay, are your area formula and your circumference formula. Either one of those would work, okay? Okay, so that's an example of those. What I also want to go over is, what if I know the circumference and I want to figure out the diameter of radius, okay? So let's say I've got, I know that circumference was equal to, let's say, what do you think, 30 centimeters. I want to know what is the radius and what is the diameter. Okay? So I do know the circumference formula is diameter times pi equals circumference. If I just turn that formula, remember how we did equations? Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So if I want to have a d equals, if I divide by pi, these end up canceling out, and I would get diameter is equal to circumference divided by pi. Okay. So I would use this formula to figure that out. So I'm going to have to find the diameter and then take half of that for the radius, okay? So I would say my diameter is equal to my circumference divided by pi. Again, we're going to use 3.14. So when I divide that out on the calculator, I'm going to do 30. So I'm going to clear that first. 30 divided by 3.14. And I get 9.5542. We're just going to say 9.6. We're going to round it to the 10th place, okay? So that's about 9.6 centimeters. That's my diameter. If I want to find my radius, I'm going to take half of my diameter. So 1/2 times 9.6, or 9.6 divided by 2, which would be 4.8. Okay, so I can always go backwards and I can say, okay, I know the circumference. I want to know how to find the diameter and radius. You're not going to be asked to, I'm not going to give you the area and make you find one or the other because we're working with something squared and we haven't done square roots. But you would have to know how to find the radius and diameter given the circumference, okay? So that is the formula would you use. That's how you get to it. So if you really just remember this formula, you get to this formula by just solving the equation for D, okay? All right, the other thing that you might be asked to do is if you have like a, let's say I've got a square and a circle, and I'm seriously trying to draw this halfway decent. Well, it's going to be an oval. It's going to be an egg, but we're going to pretend it's a circle. Well, we're going to pretend that's a circle. My drawing ability. Let's say this is 10 inches long, okay? It's giving me this as a square, 10 inches. I want to know what is the shaded area. Okay? And it looks a little overwhelming because we're like, whoa, that's a lot of information. But think about it. I need to find the area of the whole square first. I'm going to find the area of the circle. And then I'm going to subtract those areas, because if I have this whole thing and I subtract out the area of the circle, I'm going to have this left. So square minus circle. Okay? Okay, so all I need is one thing of information for my, to figure this out. I know that 10 is how long the square is. What I also know is that if I went from this point to this point through the center, it's 10. So that means my diameter is 10. If my diameter is 10, that means my radius is half of that. So my radius would be just from here to here. That's what I need to find area, okay? So let's do the area of the square. I would do, we'll do that first. My area of my square would be 10 times 10, base times height, and I would get 100 inches squared. All right, the area of my circle is pi times my radius squared. Okay, I have to square this first, okay? I don't know why I put that in parentheses, but I have to square this first doing order of operations. So I'm going to do 5 times 5, which is 25. And then I'm going to multiply that by 3.14. Okay, I get 78.5. So I'm going to take my square. I'm going to subtract out my circle. I'm going to do 100 minus 78.5. Need a calculator for that, do we? That would be 10 minus 5 is 5. That's a 9. That's a 9. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. So I would get the shaded area is equal to 21.5 inches squared. Okay? So those are the things you need to know for the circles. Look at your lesson summaries at the end of the lessons. There should be on the notes at the very last page of all the things I assigned, and that will help you to get ready for this test. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day and good luck on the test. I'll talk to you later. Bye.